The hockey postseason is underway on the boys' side. Quarterfinal round action of the Section 5 2A tournament. And it's time for the late games. Champlin Park taking on Anoka tonight at the Coon Rapids Ice Center. Early games already in the books, and now it's time to settle who will match up in the semifinals with Maple Grove and Centennial. And John Haddon and Joe Rutland along with Marissa Greshel, glad to be with you this evening from again here in Coon Rapids. I mentioned the two early round winners already in the books. Maple Grove able to overcome Spring Lake Park. And we saw earlier here tonight on North Metro TV, Centennial topping Osseo. The scores in those games, Spring Lake Park falling by a 6-1 final. So the Panthers season is done. Osseo dropped by Centennial 5-0. So dominant victories in the early games. And a chance of that we'll see something similar to that here in our second game, Joe, because these two teams matched up just a week ago, and Anoka won 9-0.
It was a 9-0 win. The big difference also as well, senior goaltender, freshman goaltender for Champlin Park, and meanwhile, Anoka, a big scoring punch. They've scored 96 goals on the season. Meanwhile, for Champlin Park, they've just put up 57.
And some of those big scores for Anoka include Jack Giddings' back-to-back hat tricks to finish the season. He had one against Champlin Park, then they played one more game 2 days later, and at Totino Grace, he dropped in another 3 goals. So Giddings has been huge and helping out as well. Michael Talbot, who is also on the second line with Giddings. So that's part of the reason he had 4 assists, but also 6 goals in his last 3 games. What a stretch for those two in the second line overall for Anoka.
Very much so. They come at you in waves, a big scoring punch. Also, you got to look at power plays. When it comes time for the power plays, Grayler on the season leads the team in goals scored in the power plays and also has a total of 16 points. So they come at you with a variety of attacks, all very strong.
We've got 3 guys with a combined 18 power play goals this season. Newman, Grayler, and Johnson for the Anoka Tornadoes. Still waiting for the Champlin Park Rebels to find their way onto the ice as we're a little bit delayed from our predicted 8 o'clock start time. And I mentioned the 9-0 victory for Anoka. It was a continuation of trends for both of these teams. Anoka finished the season winning its last 7 games, including winning the last 4 by a combined 20 goals. On the other side, Champlin Park was outshot in their last 5 games, and they went winless, 0-3-2. A couple of ties, but 3 losses as well. As you see, Anoka return to the ice after their warm-ups. Champlin Park right on their heels. In Champlin Park, the numbers aren't going to be as sweet coming down the stretch, but they have had some bright spots, and Nick Bateman has been one of them. We talked about the power play for the Tornadoes, but for the Rebels, he had a pair of goals on the man advantage against Blaine about a week ago.
Absolutely. That Blaine's a tough team, and anytime you can put up those numbers against the Bengals and play that well, that just shows what type of level and talent that he's playing with. So they've also got a great leader in Derek Smith. You get a look at Derek. He's also a big player on the baseball team, but as I talked to Pat Johnston, the head coach for Champlin Park before the game, true leader. Leads the team, one of the leader in points, 9 goals, 19 assists, as you can see there, but just a true leader, and they love to put freshman, sophomore on the lines with him.
And Champlin Park, a team that doesn't have a big-time standout score. 10 goals is the most for any player on the team. A couple of players right behind with 9, including Derek Smith. Look at the goaltenders. Brennan Boynton, the freshman in goal. Really trial by fire all season long for Boynton. His numbers have held up decently throughout the course of the year.
Very much, and you know, John, almost 1,300 minutes is what he's put between the pipes this year. And the other component, he's got a lot of young defensemen in front of him. Meanwhile, the other side, you got Spencer Olson, very, very well experienced. Another senior as a backup of 3.23 goals against. 11-7 mark. Very, very talented and strong between the pipes. And when it comes time for the playoffs, it's what you have between the pipes. That triggers a lot of the momentum. You saw it happen with the Wild last year with Dubnik. But meanwhile, when it comes time for playoff hockey here at high school, that's the strength of that. So you've got senior versus freshman.
Olson's got the bulk of the time in net this season for the Tornadoes, but Corbin has played a fair amount as well. Olsen got the start in the last 5 games of the regular season. Boynton has started all but 1 game for his team this season. We talked about the total minutes. He's only been pulled once. That was the 9-0 defeat that they suffered a week ago. They're going through the starting lineups here, beginning with the 15-9-0 Anoka Tornadoes, who were seeded 3rd in this tournament under head coach Todd Manthe in his 17th year leading the squad, winningest coach in team history, 214 victories coming into this year's playoff run. On the other side for Champlin Park, Pat Johnston, 7th year for him. He's got 70 career victories entering tonight's action. So both these coaches have been around a little while. They've seen each other before, and in the postseason, Champlin Park has had the advantage, winning their 2 previous playoff matchups. But certainly Anoka is the favored team here tonight as you get a look at the coaches.
There's Pat Johnston. The known fact is that he was actually drafted by the New York Rangers in the mid-'80s.
Back in '85, he was a 4th-round pick by the New York Rangers.
And he's really brought some credibility and stability to the coaching staff. There's also former players. There's also, we break down some St. Cloud State players and coaches on this team as well. So he's brought that and that knowledge and just really pushes the team chemistry.
On the other side, a look there at Todd Manthe. Manthe had a stellar career with the coach or the team he now. The Game of Thrones theme being played as the players come out on the ice. And if there isn't a sign of winter coming stronger than hockey, I don't know what it is, but we are coming to the close with section playoffs beginning tonight. And again, the winner of this game will take on a Centennial team that won earlier this evening on this very sheet of ice, 5-0.
And there you got to look at Isaac Johnson, leading goal scorer and point getter this year for the Anoka Tornadoes. He'll be someone to contend with in that on that top line.
Olsen.
The officials for tonight's game are Eric Knudsen, Chris Loken, and Sam Warzeka. Good luck to both teams. Let's play hockey.
Both teams set to take the ice. No anthem for our second game here today. Let's get a look at the starters for tonight. Derek Smith centers the top line with Swanstrom and Bauman. Defensively, Rylance and Bateman stand in front of the freshman Brennan Boynton. There's 2 sophomores to go along with their freshman goaltender on that starting lineup for Champlin Park.
Absolutely. There you got Bauman leading the team in goals scored, and Smith 2nd total points for that team. Meanwhile, you look at the starters coming back the other way for the Tornadoes. The leading scorer in Isaac Johnson, Perry, O'Neill, and then meanwhile you have Hudek. And then the big difference, I think, will be in goal, as you have Spencer Olsen, tons of experience, taking on the freshman for Champlin Park.
So you see the Anoka Tornadoes will skate out in their white and maroon unis, dark blue for Champlin Park on the other side, who will start skating left to right as you watch here in the opening period of play. Beautiful arena for these quarterfinals. Always fun to come here to the Coon Rapids Ice Center, and we're glad you were able to join us this evening to check out this Section 5-2A quarterfinal matchup. Here we go, opening draw. Isaac Johnson against Derek Smith, and it's won back by Champlin Park. They dump it in and give chase. Tornadoes getting under it quickly with Hudek. Goes behind his own net. Pressure coming. Derek Smith flips it back behind the goal. Little D-to-D pass as Anoka sets up and plays to the far side wall for O'Neill. Taylor O'Neill loses it at neutral, blasted in by Swanstrom, and cleared out by the goaltender. Anoka taking their time here. This is Carter Perry. Hands it off, and it's pushed forward. Intercepted at center ice and dumped back in by Champlin Park. Puck flipped up along the half wall, knocked back in. And controlling well as Champlin Park, at least, to keep it inside the Anoka zone. Now a pass intercepted, sent towards the goal, and it's moved aside. On the doorstep, the Rebels had a man there in Jack Cargus.
Champlin Park able to make a line change, so they're fresh. Meanwhile, still the first shift on for Anoka.
Kept in here at the blue line, pushed back down by Auer. Blake Auer, one of the assistant captains. It whips around to the far side corner. Now trickles over the blue line. None of the squeeze it was Shellum. Finally, a couple of changes coming for the Tornadoes as Champlin Park once again dumps it in. Finally, the Tornadoes move up ice, but a check comes from behind to take that puck away. Trying to avoid the high stick or the hand pass call there. It was left alone for a moment, now picked up by Anoka at neutral ice. Moved in by Talbot. Talked about his incredible scoring over the last few games. He sets up in front of the net while the battle goes on in the near side corner. Worked up to the blue line, a quick blast, looking for the tap in front, and it's deflected away. Anoka getting Newman right on the doorstep there. The team's leading goal scorer with 23, or leading assist man rather, nearly scored himself a goal. Would have been his 10th of the season. Brought back in by Colin Hounds. Hans takes a shot, rebounds left out in front, and now pushed behind to the back boards.
There you see some initial shots and rebounds being given up right now by Neuton. They've got to minimize those rebounds.
Puck bounced behind the goal of the Tornadoes. Sticked out of there, sent right back in. Champlin Park pushing, and they can't get it past the man in net, Spencer Olsen. Tried to poke that one away, but instead of going to the corner, went right onto the stick of a Champlin Park Rebel. Puck played towards the front, moved out for a second, back and forth, and went up and down the slot there. And now sent around behind the net. Centering pass doesn't come through. Nice job by the Tornadoes' Hans to knock it away. Looking for a long pass up ice. They find it nicely fed ahead to Talbot. He takes it into the offensive zone, gets to the front of the net. Shot, save made. Boynton kept his pads down to the ice. And the shot was low. Save keeps us scoreless.
He tried to go underneath the garage door, tried to go under those pads. Good save that time.
Puck played to the near side corner as the Tornadoes back on the attack. Good back and forth hockey and good chances for both teams early on as this one swept to the far wall. Picked up on the backside, and Champlin Park trying to move it out. Knocked away for a moment by Wilbur. Out to neutral ice. Anoka able to get in on sides just barely. Chasing after it is Sutterer. Played in behind the goal. Champlin Park regains control. Give it up to Derek Roberts. Can't get it out of the zone initially. He's dogged by Mirovsky. Mirovsky loses it. Picked up by Anoka on their own end. Given ahead to neutral ice. Here's Wilbur dumping it and going off on a change while the Rebels gather. Jeff Rylance, starting defenseman, gets there first. Takes it up. Pass ahead. Knocked down for the moment by Grayler, but it does trickle into the Anoka zone. In the near side corner, they play it up to the far wall. Good passing initially to get it around, but it's kept in by Champlin Park. Puck to the front, deflected along the way, and that one died off the stick of Ryan Ingram. Anoka breaks out, now breaks in over the blue line. Man tripped up after the puck was poked away, and we get our first whistle of the night on a penalty. 12:40 remaining here in the first period.
You'll see Isaac Johnson trip down on that play, brought down to the ice, and that's going to give a chance here for the Tornadoes to go up early with the man advantage. Again, they've got a lot of punch, a lot of power on the power play, and let's see what they can do with it here this far.
Nick Bateman on the tripping call. He had 18 penalty minutes during the regular season, picks up the first pair here in the postseason. Anoka, first opportunity with the man advantage. Passing it down low, pass across, and that one flying through the air made it tough for Isaac Johnson to make connection. Blast on the other end, looking for a shorthanded chance was Keegan Bauman. That didn't work out. Anoka flying into the offensive zone, pass to the slot. This shot goes up too tall for Taylor O'Neill. 28% on the power play are the Tornadoes this season. That is an outstanding mark. As Joe mentioned, they've been very good in this regard.
Watch Grayler here on this man advantage. He plays the right point. A lot of success this year on that power play for Anoka. He leads the team in power play goals.
Newman gives it to him. Now left to the top of the slot. Talbot passes it to the near side. He gets it back. Now underneath Talbot's feet. Punch towards the net. Off bounce to the goal. That'll be credited to Blake Newman, but that hit off a defender and fell in. Tornadoes up 1-0.
Disappointed. I can tell Auer, who is the defenseman, the senior defenseman, disappointed. Went off of his skates and went in for the goal. Beautiful save. point-blank save, and it was turned away initially by Boynton. Again, Boynton, the freshman, has looked stellar here in the first period. Made that save, but the rebound, there you go, went right off the skate of Auer. Good, hard shot. Kept it low, got the rebound coming back the other side.
Newman is 10th goal of the season, so he moves into double figures. His 6th power play goal of the year.
16 seconds into the first period.
So good play by the Tornadoes and a little luck to help out in the end. And they get the power play goal.
Well, it is definitely a hello Newman as he scores that first goal and puts Anoka up, and they convert on that man advantage.
They gave the assists to Talbot and Grayler on that play. So with a 1-0 lead, the Tornadoes, the 3 seed in this tournament, have struck first. Champlin Park coming back at it, trying to get a pass away. There was a man coming down the near side in Roberts, but he never got the feed. Played up the boards by Anoka. Isaac Johnson gains the zone, works his way to the middle and hands it off in the far circle. Shot, blocker save made, punches it out towards the blue line. It's held in by Anoka. Keeping control of it was Hudek. Now in behind the net. Scrum for control there, and being knocked down to the ice was McLaughlin. Puck works its way all the way out of the zone. Will go to the far end of the ice. Tracked down by Anoka. Well, physical play in the defensive zone as the Tornadoes bring it the other direction. Here, quick shot. Talbot has it moved away into the near side corner. Off the save by Boynton. Feet ahead for Champlin Park. A little elusive there for Bauman. And it works its way back to neutral ice. Now Bauman gets a stick on it, but couldn't carry it into the zone. Anoka takes control. Here's Grayler. Up the near side, hands it off. Talbot looking to backhand a pass off intended for Giddings. Never got there. Dumped in by Champlin Park. Puck played off the backboards, and Anoka gains control once more. Not a lot of sustained pressure for Champlin Park thus far. Fighting it into the zone successfully as Ingram takes a hard angle shot and the save made. Spencer Olsen holding on.
Well, there's been so much pressure so far down in the Champlin Park zone by Anoka, but even when Champlin Park breaks it out, Anoka's doing a great job in the neutral zone of trapping it and not allowing a lot of 2-3 consecutive clean passes to be executed.
Draw taken back to the near side corner and worked around by Anoka defensively. Trying to get out of the zone. Puck turned over near the top of the slot. No shot comes as this one pops high into the air off of Mikolas' stick. Anoka now gaining some control. Hand off to Sutterer. Tried to move it forward. Now he gets it back. Pass ahead, and it's tipped into the offensive zone. Ben Saba spinning around. This puck went through the edge of the crease out to the far side wall. Shot deflects off to the backside. Once again controlled by Anoka. Given to the point. Shot from there. Looking for a deflection, but the 5-hole was shut. Able to squeeze the knees that time. Boynton shutting down Anoka.
Unfortunately, another penalty coming up to Champlin Park as they laid out. Number 22 for Anoka. Yeah, Morossi just got laid out, and I think we're going to get 26 going for Champlin Park.
Well, that's a return to the penalty box for Bateman. So he served the first 2. Will the second one be as deadly? 1-0 lead for Anoka because of the power plays. You get another look at the contact on that play. Now the face-off coming to the glove side of Boynton. Draw eventually taken by Anoka. Controlled in the circle by Johnson. He works to the far side and hands it off. Now give it to the blue line for Grayler. Skating in is Newman. Back to Grayler. Down to the near side. Centering pass intercepted by Champlin Park. Not a real clear, though. Softly works its way out to the blue line. It's picked up once again. Johnson winds up. Then the blast. Knocked down and covered up. Save Brennan Boynton.
Right on the doorstep there. You see him patrolling, looking for that rebound. He did a good job. He gave up a small rebound, but really deadened the puck. It just dropped straight down so he could plop on it. But circling around and looking for an opportunity was O'Neill there to pick up a loose change.
Yeah, nicely done. With no one right in front of the crease, nobody poked at that puck. Here cleared out by Champlin Park. Still a minute 20 on the power play for the Tornadoes, who lead 1-0. Tornadoes trying to set it up, finally break the blue line and bring it in along the near side. This is Newman. Blake Newman spins around after getting underneath, hands it off to Isaac Johnson. Back up to the point, down to the far side circle, and a quick blast by Grayler goes wide.
You'll see the Tornadoes keep that same power play team on for the majority, if not all, of the power play.
Here, puck intercepted, and a chance to burn some time maybe as Ryan Ingram takes it into the offensive zone. Tried to leave it back for Smith. Smith hustling to get to the puck. He deflects it at least away from Anoka. That should allow his teammates to get to it and clear the zone. Able to do so at least out to neutral ice as Will Ellingson got a shot. Smith still out there, pokes it ahead, and he gets it again. Aggressive forecheck action for Derek Smith, the senior and captain for his squad.
Let's watch him break out here. They've been moving the ball, or excuse me, moving the puck well once they get set up here on this man advantage. Tape to tape.
Johnson hands it back. Goal! Ben Saba on the score.
Wow, they rotated that, drop pass, tape to tape, and put it top shelf, put it with the peanut butter. Beautiful top shelf goal over the glove side shoulder of the freshman goaltender, Boyden. And it quick release, a quick shot here.
Johnson just drew the defense, Saba all alone, and the one-timer. Such a hard shot. And went upstairs, as you said. Beating Boynton, didn't have much chance, it looked like, the way he reacted on that puck.
Well, 2 for 2 on the power play here in the playoffs.
Great start in that regard. The special teams has been stellar. So the easiest way to clean up the penalty kill, if you're Champlin Park, is to stop being on the penalty kill.
The assist from Isaac Johnson and also Michael Talbot.
They give Talbot another assist, his second, to go along with obviously Johnson, who left it back with that pretty pass behind. So it's 2-0 Anoka. Champlin Park unable to hold it in the offensive zone. Kind of a dangerous tip puck there by Anoka's Andy Sutter. He tipped it right in front of his own goaltender. Pass up ahead. This is Wilbur. Jared Wilbur leaves it back. Newman tried to send it forward, and it's knocked out of there by Champlin Park.
Let's see if Champlin Park can get some momentum going here before the end of period number 1. They're down 2-0. They've had some good quality shots, but thus far Olsen's turned them all away.
Victoria dumps it on goal, but it is moved to the far side corner without any trouble off an easy save. With speed, Anoka through neutral ice. Centering pass shot, goal! Jack Giddings finishes off the rush, and it's 3-0 Anoka, their first even strength goal of the night.
Giddings continues his scoring way here for the Tornadoes. As you mentioned, a couple of hat tricks back to back. He's just been on fire. And this time he was on the doorstep. And there was really nothing that, Boynton could do with that. As it brought it in, the defenseman tried to lift the stick, unable to do so. Beautiful setup. Put it right on the doorstep. He chipped it on through. And
this puck held to the very last second. What a play there. Looks like Talbot with another assist. He's been outstanding. The last 2 goals have been scored off of very pretty feeds in very different fashion. But they worked out.
11 minutes, 10 seconds into the first period.
Anoka right back at it in the offensive end.
Jack Giddings.
Puck played towards the front of the net. We'll give Newman an assist as well on that goal. So he gets into the scoring act. And all 3 goals tonight have been scored with a pair of assists. That says a lot about what an offense is doing. They are passing this puck and doing it successfully. And so far, 5 minutes to go in the opening period, 3-0 Anoka on top of Champlin Park.
Well, John, Newman leads the team in assists. And you saw there as he set the dinner plate perfectly that time for Giddings to set that play up and that goal. There's a reason why he's one of the top getters in assists for this Tornado team this year.
Puck brought in by Anoka once more. This is Carter Perrier. Perry, the sophomore, loses control. It's flipped out of the zone. McLaughlin knocks it down and dumps it back in. Same skaters go after it for Anoka. Picked up behind the net. This is Rylance. Into the far corner. Rylance doing battle with a pair of tornadoes. Forces it up along the wall to Roberts. Roberts being dogged by Perry. Those two still fighting at it. It's knocked out. Anoka gains control. Heads towards the net. Pass across, and this one ends up behind the goal. And play to the near boards. The Tornadoes pick it up courtesy of Perry. Forces it out to the blue line. They do hold it in for the moment. Knocked down. Puck was played with a high stick, so Anoka's got to leave it alone. They do so. Now we're clear. Anoka comes up with the control of the puck. Softly laid behind, then it's whipped out of there. This will be an icing as Champlin Park's Derek Roberts was just desperate to get it out of his own.
Well, 11-7 in shots on goal in favor of Anoka. But I'll tell you what, Boynton has faced higher quality shots. Of those 11, I would easily say 8, 9 have been quality shots, point-blank saves by that freshman.
You can see why he's in there. It's still a hard task for anyone of that age to take on the quality of skaters and shooters he's going to face at the 2A level here in Minnesota. Anoka has been relentless. They start in again, but it is forced back by the Rebels. Another icing against Champlin Park.
Well, you're right. And Boynton started the season as a freshman. Almost 1,300 minutes between the pipes. He's probably about a junior now in real life. In terms of the amount of pucks he's seen this year and the amount of experience he's gained. It'll be great value next year for the Rebels.
Anoka has dominated this matchup as of late. Last 6 years. 6 matchups, I should say. Including the 9-0 victory just a week ago. It's 3-0 already. And Anoka shows no signs of slowing down as Champlin Park gathers in their own end. Little forecheck action, and nearly coming up with it was Saba. Getting back to the puck is Hudek. Goes around to the far side. The puck trickled in on Olsen, and he was forced to play it away. Grabbed once more by the Tornadoes. Wilbur playing it forward under duress. Moravsky able to move it out of the zone. And full change for Anoka here on the icing.
Well, a 3-0 lead, not exactly what Coach Jen Austin wanted for Champlin Park, as they'll try to counter. It was Auer, unfortunately, who was on the ice for 2 of those 3 goals. One of the senior defense. They also have 3 sophomores that play defense also for the Champlin Park team.
We have a change in the face-off circle. One back by the Rebels. Control of the top of the slot, coming towards the near side. That puck knocked down, sacrificing the body was Giddings. Taken up by Talbot. He skates in with speed to the net, passes across, and he was looking for Giddings to finish it off again.
Deflected out, and he got it. Yeah, it was nice setup again. Just hit the fuel engines and fired right by the defense. Great setup. Just couldn't quite put that one away.
Puck went up and out of play on the deflection, so the faceoff comes just outside the zone. Champlin Park has done a decent job on the draw so far tonight. They win that one and dump it in, but they sent it too far. Icing call against the Rebels.
Well, with the 3-0 lead here tonight, I don't want to jinx the Tornadoes, but maybe create a little momentum for Champlin Park. Anoka is 0-2 versus Champlin Park in the playoffs, history-wise. So super fan Jeff gave me that tip.
Puck played up to the far side. Anoka gathers it once more, leaving it back towards Talbot, just out of his reach. Giving chase as Giddings can't get there. And grabbed here by Champlin Park. Moving it up initially was Ellingson. Trying to play it forward was Roberts, but he lost control from behind. Taken by Hudek. Pass up ahead for Giddings. Brings it in, hands to Talbot, back to Giddings up to the near side corner. Struggle for control. Champlin Park able to wedge it out, and they move forward with speed. This is Keegan Bauman, knocked off the puck, and Anoka fires it back out to neutral. Just 1:25 left here in the first period. Puck tipped in by Ingram, taken towards the net. Coming out a ways was Olsen. He swats that puck away, and we get a whistle.
Interference will be the call on Anoka, and that will put Champlin Park on the power play for the first time this evening. Good hustle. Good hustle by Champlin Park. That created the need to cover and get over and pull down the Champlin Park forward.
So Taylor O'Neill will serve the time. 8 penalty minutes for him during the regular season, so he doesn't spend a lot of time in the cooler, but will sit for 2 that if a goal doesn't come in the next minute 15, will straddle the 2 periods. Champlin Park trying to show off its power play unit, which is connected at just 14% so far this season.
1 minute remaining in the period.
Plus 20 is usually a pretty good mark, 20% or better. 25 or better, great. And obviously we talked about Anoka, 28%. They started 2 for 2 on the power play tonight.
Good pressure by the Tornadoes. Champlin Park having trouble setting it up. Here's a break.
A shorthanded opportunity. Isaac Johnson skates it in, shot. No goal. Hit the crossbar and it popped out. Johnson looking for his 3rd shorthanded goal of the season, and he was a 1/4 inch away, it looked like.
He kept his poise with the puck and looked like that might have just gotten underneath the crossbar, but it hit hard enough to come back out. Shorthanded opportunity for the Tornadoes.
Johnson controlling again. He held it for a long time, then dumped it in with less than 15 seconds to go. That's going to eat up most of the time as Champlin Park rushes back into the offensive zone. They do it off sides.
You can see that break out as Champlin Park on that power play. Here's a look at it. He holds onto it, waits for the goaltender to go down. He's been dropping, and when he drops, he's going top shelf on him. You've seen that with a couple of the goals already tonight, so couldn't quite put that one away. That could have been a dagger early in the first period. Early in this game, rather.
Instead, still a 3-0 game, and that's how we go to the first intermission. Great start for the Tornadoes. A pair of power play goals, followed up by the Giddings score, and it's 3-0. Anoka on top of Champlin Park here in this Section 5 2A quarterfinal matchup. Plenty more to come as we get you set for the second period shortly. You're watching high school hockey coverage on North Metro TV. Cheerleaders leading the Rebel Yell here as Champlin Park needing something to get themselves fired up. They've fallen behind 3-0 to Anoka after 1 period of play. The Tornadoes ripping through Champlin Park's defense repeatedly. Some serious rushes put on in that first period. And John Adden, Joe Rulin back with you. After a fun period if you're an Anoka fan, not so fun if you're Champlin Park. So we decided to chat with one of the Anoka players. Let's join Marissa Greschel, who's standing by.
I'm here with Ben after the completion of the first period. How do you feel the first period went?
Pretty good. We're working hard. We're playing well. Yeah, got 3 goals on the board, so we're doing good.
And what do you hope to do in the next period?
Well, just keep working hard, getting pucks to the net, and put some more in the net, get this one in the right time.
What's the energy like out on the ice tonight?
Pretty good. We got off to a little slow start, but then we got into it, and we put a few away, and we're rolling.
All right, what's Coach going to say to you in the locker room now?
Just work hard and keep putting pucks on net, I think. Yeah.
All right, well, good luck. Keep it up.
If it works, it works. Work hard, put pucks to the net, and that's what Anoka did certainly in that first period. It added up to a 3-0 lead.
Don't over-strategize. Don't overthink. Early and often. And when you have a freshman goaltender that you're facing, and in fact, that's what Champlin Park has with Brennan Boynton, you can shatter and kind of get that confidence going, but I'll tell you, fire that puck. Fire that puck on.
Yeah, let's look at some hard work and maybe some pucks towards the net. This one, lucky bounce in the end, but it was set up on the power play, and the goal for Newman made it 1-0. The other two much prettier. Here you've got the drop back pass and the one-timer blast to put it top shelf. Saba from Johnson to get the second goal.
Boy, he controlled that, and that one-timer couldn't have been placed any more perfectly than where it was top shelf just over the shoulder.
That was also on the power play. They'd add an even strength goal from Giddings on a nice feed from Michael Talbot. So 3-0 is our score. Shots on goal, it felt more lopsided than that. Penalty minutes, and really not just penalty minutes, but look at the success on the power play. Tornadoes had 2 tries at it, and they knocked them both out. So outstanding start on special teams to the postseason for the Anoka Tornadoes.
Also, one little need-to-know fact is 13-3 is what Anoka did in terms of controlling faceoffs in that first period. A 13-3 edge.
And that actually surprised me. I thought Champlin Park was doing all right on the faceoffs. I'm glad we had a man feeding us that information, because numbers don't lie. And Anoka dominating in that regard. There's the full scoring summary. And as I talked about before, besides the fact that 2 of those are power play goals, another thing to focus on, 2 assists on each of the goals. This Anoka team is sharing the puck very nicely in order to get these scores.
Yep, Talbot with the trifecta, 3 assists. And then you got Newman, a goal and an assist. So it's great to see. An interesting part also with this team, with this particular Anoka Tornadoes team, they've got a number of players who are also on their state tournament champion team for soccer. Talbot, Newman, just to name a couple. So very strong athletic and strong baseball players as well coming this spring.
You would imagine they don't tire out much if they're on the soccer field and the hockey rink. Those are 2 of the most demanding sports in terms of endurance in very different ways, but those are well-balanced athletes in that regard. There's Michael Talbot. We talked about his efforts, a hat trick of assists, if you will. I don't know if that's called a visor trick or what, but
absolutely. Good call. Good call, John. I like it. And then, there you go. 18 goals, 18 assists. Couldn't be any more balanced than that. But, just the pressure that Anoka puts on. They're an attacking type of offense. They keep pushing it. And I fall back to a coach I once had to say, when we put pressure on them, anxiety goes up, IQ goes down.
Yes.
So when we push that on, and I thought of it more with the one that went off the skate that time of Auer in the first period, first goal. The pressure and the amount of shots coming at him, and he was just couldn't control the rebound off the skate.
Anoka takes the opening face-off and quickly heads into the offensive zone as we start the second period here at the Coon Rapids Ice Center. Back the other direction, and Champlin Park able to get in behind the net, trying to hand it off for Ingram. Ingram in a battle now, going against Colin Hans. Taken behind the net by Smith. Derek Smith knocked off the puck momentarily. Anoka trying to gain control, and once again Ingram comes up with it. Now taken by Giddings on the far side, tries to whip it out. It ends up in the bench. And a save for Champlin Park's backup goaltender.
9 seconds left on the power play for Champlin Park. They really haven't been able to do too much with it. And in fact, Anoka almost scored a shorthanded goal near the end of the first period. That's how much pressure Anoka's putting on this penalty kill.
Anoka won the opening face-off, so they took it right into the offensive zone and ate up a little time. Champlin Park hasn't gotten much for shots away. There they launch one. Blocker save made as Anoka adds its 5th skater to the ice. So we're even up here in the second period. Very early on, centering pass deflects to the top of the slot. Shot, that one deflects wide. A fortunate deflection, then an unfortunate one. This puck sent on net, runs into Ryan Ingram, and it bounces off his body to the far corner. Anoka picks it up on the half wall, sends it up to neutral ice. With speed, in over the blue line is Isaac Johnson. Great centering pass, lined up, and the shot goes wide. Carter Perry had a beautiful chance. He couldn't come through that time. Another centering pass, bouncer to Perry. Hands it back to the blue line. Back to Perry. Feeds it off underneath. Johnson cycles it to the back of the net. A little strong there for O'Neill, and it works its way out to neutral ice.
Well, the speed of Anoka almost capitalized once again. Isaac Johnson ready to set up Carter Perry. He dangled but couldn't quite put that one away.
And Perry out at neutral ice, trying to bang it forward. We checked that was Hudek feeding it forward. Little roller. Boynton able to knock it aside. His stick pushes it to the far corner, and now players wedge up against each other, fighting for control. Worked out of there. Giddings takes it behind the net. Look for a centering pass. That didn't work out. Squirts out to neutral ice. Sutterer picks it up there. Sends it down to the near side for Hudek. And move forward. Talbot gets into the zone. Will he give it off again? Talbot takes it to the backhand. Now tries to force it in, and there's just too many blue bodies in the blue paint. It is finally covered up by Boynton.
He took a collision. Took it hard in there, and they were trying to knock him off the puck. Meanwhile, getting a chance to kind of take a breather off of that as well.
Yeah, it looked like Jeff Rylance got the worst of that in the end as Talbot comes in, tried the backhand, then he faced up, and he was about to go to the forehand, and there was just too much in the way. This puck hops the blue line, and Anoka's forced to touch up. They didn't do so cleanly. Now we're good. Champlin Park able to work it out to neutral ice. Pass up ahead. Victoria into the offensive end, has his pocket picked. Hudek takes it behind the net. He lost control, turned over in the slot, but a bouncing puck that the Rebels can't settle down. Hudek through neutral ice, long pass up ahead to Talbot. Talbot waiting, passes it off. Third pass, and they can't connect. Right on the doorstep for Jack Giddings.
Boy, a great setup again. They continue to put themselves in some great situations, but it's just great hands when they're receiving that puck, and then great passes.
Well, the term we used during our last game for Centennial, because they weren't getting any of their pretty plays to go, was tic-tac-no, and that's exactly what that one looked like. You had two beautiful passes. You just needed the finish on the doorstep, and it didn't come through for Anoka that time. So still 3-0, and certainly not much has changed, even though the scoreboard is the same as the first period.
Coach Janaston there for Champlin Park, trying to get the team motivated and rolling. Get that first goal.
Puck played back to the blue line. Anoka has it bounce off the official. They'll track it down. In the far corner. Spinning around, losing the skate was Mirovsky. Looking for a centering pass, won't come through. Smith battling, and he finally works it out of the zone. Picked up there by Grayler. He sends it right back in. Boynton behind his own net, slows it down for Jackson Snee. Out to the far side, down to the near side. Quick cross ice passing, and finally Champlin Park able to work it up. Swanstrom brings it in over the blue line a little too late. Someone was ahead of the pack, and offsides is called against the Rebels.
Well, you're seeing a lot with this Champlin Park team. You've also got a lot of kids, a lot of talent, but early on, you know, just before Janaston got a chance to be here, there were some kids who had a chance to go to Breck and take an opportunity to skate at Breck or go to perhaps some junior programs earlier on. So he's been able to get a lot of the kids to stay, retain, and be a part of this program. And I think he's building some great momentum, especially with this freshman goaltender for next year.
That's a battle for every public school, even if you don't believe in recruiting, and I don't think these coaches go out. The players do it themselves and say, hey, I'm going here, why don't you come here, you're pretty good, that sort of thing. You don't have to involve coaches to have that situation. There's a great article in the City Pages this week about Minneapolis hockey and the revival that they're trying to go through with one team for the entire city, a city that used to have 10 teams that dominated the state. I know there was a great article in the Star Tribune a few weeks ago about Richfield losing its program this year. So similar reasons, different demographics and whatnot. But that battle continues as private schools do happen to swallow up a few of the best players. And that's why Class A hockey can be very exciting to watch once you get to the state tournament. You get some of those best teams at that level.
Absolutely.
Going at it.
Darby Hendrickson out of that Richfield program. And again, as you mentioned, it has kind of dissolved on some of those elements. And meanwhile, we're going to get coincidental minors on both Anoka and Champlin Park here. I think they'll erase each other out. They'll continue to skate 5-a-side. Little extracurricular activity on the blue line behind the scene after the whistle was blown.
We had a lot in the. We had a lot of that in the first game of the night. In fact, 2 players were ejected in the final minutes.
We had minor coincidental penalties.
For fighting.
Number 22, Kristen Moravsky.
There's a Moravsky for roughing. And Ellingson for roughing. Here's save made as Anoka. We talked about how Anoka was dominating in the quality chances. That was a good one for Champlin Park.
Well, it was also set up as it came off that face-off by Bauman. Bauman brought it in. That energy is what they need more of, because you never know what's going to trigger momentum. But I'll tell you the one thing is that energy. He got a great shot, and off the rebound from Olsen, scoring opportunity again for Champlin Park.
Face-off won by Champlin Park, but they forced it back out of the zone. Couldn't hold it at the blue line. Chased down by Bateman, and he leaves it behind. Taken by Rylance, but pressure coming from Anoka. And puck hops up and out. Face-off coming just outside of the Rebel zone.
Absolutely. You know, you were talking earlier about some of the players leading early in the state high schools, and I know, for instance, in Elk River, Bazal, who's former St. Cloud State hockey player, and now the principal up there, he said they've lost a couple. They've lost a couple of players already, and they're already ranked number 6 in the country. They're number 1 seed, right? Or excuse me, in the state. And here's a chance now for Champlin Park.
The Rebels looking for that first score, left behind, shot and a save made, and a spin around after that, but nothing comes of it as Sam Schuster let that one fly. The sophomore couldn't get it past the goaltender Spencer Olsen. When these two teams met in that 9-0 game, both teams used a pair of goalies. The backups got in. Here is spin around in the shot. The save made by Boynton.
It was a big second period, if I recall, for Anoka. 6 goals in the second period.
Here, shot and a save made again by Boynton. Big rebound makes it all the way, its way all the way to the half wall. Anoka picks it up again, skate right to the front, and a shot moved aside. Looked like the traffic got in front of that one. Trying to track it down is Jack Giddings, and it's worked out of the zone. Puck swatted back into the offensive zone, offsides against the Anoka Tornadoes.
One of the, not to continue to pick a scab by any means, but I know one of the solutions for Elk River has been they hired Craig Hartsburg as their head coach, and he's been phenomenal. Great name, helped the kids develop. They even have a freshman on that team who's already committed to Notre Dame. Ooh, Perbix is his last name. Jack Perbix, a freshman.
Well, I think one of the common threads in those stories that we've heard and that I've read have been that bringing in a new coach or a coach with a very serious background at the professional level does make a difference. And I know that Hendricks, you mentioned Darby, was quoted in the Star Tribune article as saying he wished he'd understood how bad it really was so he could have done more. Whether he would have gone and coached himself, I don't know, but there are plenty of alumni out of that Richfield program. Another look at the last rush that led to a man going down to the ice and scarily sliding into the backboards. That leads to a penalty against Champlin Park.
It looks like Saba who took that shot.
Well, they had opened the door, and maybe we're not going to have a penalty now. No.
I think they were just airing it out in the penalty box area. And that's up. Tough shot, but he got up on his own power and back to the bench. Looks like he's ready to roll.
10:50 remaining here in the second period. It's been 3-0 since there were about 6 minutes left in the first period. Champlin Park has had a few chances here in the second. Trying to work it up ice along the near side boards right now. Pass out ahead to Bauman. He can't get to it in time, and Anoka controls. Here come the Tornadoes with Wilbur in over the blue line. He passes it ahead, out of the reach of Revering. And the Rebels control once more. Bauman sends a shot on. It was a little wide. Another takeaway for the Tornadoes. Champlin Park blasts it right back. Rebels with Smith into the zone. Smith trying to get a shot away. Never happened. He sends one towards the goal. Intercepted by Hudek and then played down to the near corner. Puck picked up by Anoka. Isaac Johnson sends it forward. Changes for the Tornadoes as Johnson tries to track it down behind the net. Worked into the near side. Perry gives chase. Carter Perry working along the boards. It's pried loose and taken to the backside wall. Kargas, he feeds ahead, and it's taken in neutral ice. Nice move to get around one man by Schuster, and it's played into the offensive end by Ingram. Taken behind his own net under duress. Graylor leaves it back on the D-to-D pass, now sent forward, and a check to knock a man off the puck. Anoka can't gain it back. Schuster coming down the slot. It's knocked off his stick.
Couldn't pull the trigger. I thought he was going to get one off a quick wrister, but could not pull the trigger on the shot.
Isaac Johnson got into the zone on sides, but just over the blue line, he's met hard. And both players pushing and shoving. And I think Isaac Johnson, his frustration getting the better of him. Derek Roberts, I think, is going to be sent to the penalty box as well. He's not sure why. Now, Johnson, there's no doubt, because he finished off the attack. But he looked frustrated because he couldn't get his stick away.
And yeah,
I think there's enough blame to go around on that one.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the, always the second participant that gets caught, and that time Johnson kept at it. So that was a definite call they had to make, but there was some things that happened long before they stopped play.
Johnson had more penalty minutes than any other player on the team during the regular season. He looked comfortable with the pushing and shoving in that one. 8:57 remaining here in the second period. Explanation going on at the bench.
You bet. Looks like trying to keep the players and the puck moving and the play moving. Watch out for the scrappy play. As you mentioned, they'll erase each other out. Coincidental minors.
Puck played behind the net is Champlin Park. Slowing it down. Work it up to the far side wall. And flip down to the zone. Anoka gets there first. This is Hans trying to send it forward. Hard check. Left him sprawled on the ice for a moment, but he's up and moving.
Wow, that was a hard shoulder.
Puck towards the crease, and it's flung out of there. Nice job by the defense. Now a slap shot goes wide. Ends up in the near side corner. Hans trying to get a shot away. Deflects off a shin, and now is pushed forward. A rolling puck headed towards the goal. And it is swiped aside by Olsen.
Hans maybe still trying to get his head clear. He took a hard shoulder.
He just got knocked down to the ice again. Getting laid out. Anoka into the offensive end. Nice feed forward by Talbot. Intercepted. He gains it back. Now takes it around one defender. Tried to hand it off, and it's knocked away. Held in at the blue line. Wrister from there deflects just wide. Talbot on the doorstep trying to feed it backhand to the front of the crease. Instead, it's worked out of the zone. Puck dumped in by Anoka. First man there is Blake Auer. The senior tries to play it forward out of the reach of Ingram. Puck goes down the ice, slowed down and held off. And Travis Hudek picks it up. Puck given to the slot and a big one-timer. Save made by Olsen.
Explosive strides to the puck. That got him that big slap shot, but turned away by Olsen. Swanstrom on that shot.
Yeah, it was a bad turnover by Anoka to push that puck right out to the middle. Now Anoka trying to clear it away, but they give it into the middle again. Here a pass off. Shot goes wide. Kargas couldn't finish that one. Was trying to go to the glove side, which was the far side for him. Puck makes its way through, was touched along the way, no icing, we play on. Pass intercepted, this one trickling through the air, knocked down in front. Trying to get something going is Mirovsky.
Hopped his stick, otherwise he had a golden opportunity.
Tipped out of the zone, back there to get it is Sutterer. Sends it back into the zone, but only for a moment. Here's Max Schellem. Puck played into the Anoka zone. The Tornadoes gain control there, and Hudek sends it down to the near side. Champlin Park gaining control and works it through neutral ice. Tried to dump it ahead. That didn't really work out, and it's knocked out of the zone. Down to the near side. Schellem fighting for it right at the center line. Anoka finally backhands it into the zone. Giving chase is Carter Perry as it's left behind the net by Boynton. Knocked ahead, Grayler. He got a stick on it once more, and finally it's cleared out by Champlin Park. Goes the length, and we have an icing call. 5:38 still to play in the second.
You're really seeing the Tornadoes blue liners much more confident at stepping up and stepping into the zone and jumping some of those passes or just retaining possession of the puck in the zone. So a little bit more experienced group, as we mentioned in the pregame at Champlin Park. Some seniors on defense, but a lot of sophomores as well.
Shot towards the net, made it through a lot of traffic. It was headed wide, but Boynton grabs hold of it anyway. 5:34 remaining. It was a goaltender. Probably always a good idea, even if you know it's going wide, to grab hold. You never know how it's going to bounce off those back boards and end up on your doorstep. Anoka continuing to pressure in the offensive zone. Tipped forward, and that just out of the reach of Newman. So Champlin Park with a rush opportunity. Quick shot. This one pops in and out of the glove and then is snagged once again by Spencer Olsen.
I was watching the training team. There's a good look at Champlin Park. Number 18 is Ingram, one of the alternate captains on this team. Popped up, made the catch there. I was watching also as Hans is coming back onto the play. They were adjusting his helmet after that check he initially took at center ice. Gosh, a few minutes ago, they were still trying to adjust some equipment, but I think he's ready to go.
Here he's got a hold of the puck and brings it up along the near side boards. Probably wants to respond. He gives it to Talbot. Talbot feeds it across. Shot. Goal!
Slid that one under the garage door that time.
Jack Giddings with his second goal on his second beautiful feed from Michael Talbot.
It's unbelievable just how explosive Anoka is. It goes from nothing to an odd man rush. And we've seen that, John, a series of times tonight. That's probably about the fourth or fifth time, and they've been able to capitalize half the time. There's the setup. Beautiful setup right on that doorstep. Slid it under the pads. Just got it by Boynton.
I'm amazed that Michael Talbot doesn't lead his team in assists, although he might by the time the night is over. He's got 4. He's up to 19 on the year. The team leader, Blake Newman, coming in, had 23. He's got 1 as well tonight. I believe the other helper is going to go to Colin Hans.
They just managed to get everyone involved, but they look for that opportunity, and when they see they can strike on that ad-man rush, not only strike, they capitalize many times.
They gave it to Newman, not to Hans, that second assist. So.
That 4th goal gives them 100 goals for the season.
So 4-0 after another score from the Tornadoes, and I was just thinking that a 0-0 period for Champlin Park sounds great in the first. It doesn't sound that great in the second when you're down 3-0, and now they've fallen even farther behind the Anoka Tornadoes. Puck controlled by the Rebels, still trying to get themselves on the board. Their shot goes just wide as it was deflected right in front of the crease. Tornadoes work it down to the near side boards. Mirovsky picks it up. Takes it out to neutral ice, encounters a lot of trouble there. And it's pushed back into the zone by the Rebels. Ingram gives chase. Anoka has been outstanding on the rush. They'll bring it up again. Looking for the centering pass. It didn't come through. A little trouble with control there for Revering. So on the other end, Ryan Ingram gets towards the front of the net, tried to put it across, but it went wide. He had Bauman with him that time. Here a man trips down to the ice, and we've got a whistle.
Penalty coming up on Anoka, a tripping penalty.
Yeah, so Ingram goes down on the trip, and taking himself to the penalty box without any argument is Taylor O'Neill.
That's the 2nd of the game.
So O'Neill sits, the senior picking up a pair of minutes in the box. 3:39 still to go in this second.
Well, let's see if Champlin Park can get something going. Last time they didn't have a whole lot of threats going. They got maybe 1 or 2 shots, but they were from way just inside, in fact, the blue line.
This is the 4th penalty against Anoka, but 2 were part of coincidental situations. So only the 2nd power play opportunity as this puck goes the length. And I think Boynton Forgot where he was. He was looking for the icing call, but that doesn't happen on the power play.
He's seen a lot of rubber biscuits already. Keep an eye also on Isaacson. Last time when he was there shorthanded, he hit the post, hit the crossbar on a breakaway shorthanded.
Yeah, Johnson in on the forecheck there, but blowing by him and coming up ice quickly is Ellingson. It's brought into the zone, but dumped without control. Anoka takes it away, and they try to play it forward.
Johnson there was just outside the blue line looking for a saucer pass to him. Good play to keep
finally
it
flipped out of the zone. A minute gone, and it's just been 3 clears basically for Anoka. Anoka stops this one before it even gets to the blue line and dumps it back.
Good pressure by the Tornadoes.
Tornadoes penalty kill during the regular season at 80%.
It's an impressive mark.
Champlin Park hands it back to Smith. His shot deflected off a stick and goes into the far corner. Held in, not quite, out at the blue line on the near side. Racing in, Talbot controls, Talbot to the net, puts the shot, and it slows down. Save made.
Oh, that looked like curling for a minute. It just needed to be rushed in. I'll tell you, he was falling back and still able to get a glove on that puck before it crossed the line.
Talbot, just a tiny bit more force in that one. Makes it through. Instead, it's left on the doorstep and able to reach out. And a nice job of just slapping straight down to cover it up.
Absolutely. You can see he whiffed on the shot, actually. Just enough momentum to get it going towards the goal.
It looked like his glove moved backwards into the goal, but that was because of the stick that came in late. And so the whistle came as the stick was making contact. 5 seconds left on the power play chance for the Champlin Park Rebels, as this one deflects out of play. But that makes 2 opportunities on the power play for Champlin Park, and so far 2 dandy chances during it for the Anoka Tornadoes.
Anoka's probably had better quality scoring opportunities shorthanded than Champlin Park did with the power play.
Shot by Anoka again, this time Hans putting it towards the net.
I think I heard the quote from a coach once that I had heard, Peter Mahovlich, former Canadian, a coach in the farm system. I remember him saying to one of his teams that he had coached, boys, the power play was so weak they couldn't get anything going. He says, we did a great job at disguising our power play that time out. And unfortunately, with the pressure by Anoka, the speed, Champlin Park kind of in survive mode.
Anoka 5-on-5, controlling nicely. That puck made it all the way through, but a save by Boynton. They took that one up near the shoulder. Rebels force it out to neutral ice. This puck deflects off of a high stick. No whistle, and we play on. Out to the blue line. The wrister, that one got past the goaltender, but it was wide.
1 minute remaining in the period.
Good strong attempt that time by Derek Roberts as this puck goes the length. Another icing comes just after we pass the 1 minute mark remaining here in the second period.
Well, as you mentioned, John, 9-0 was the score in the first game in the regular season. Now 4-0, so Champlin Park looking for that first goal versus Anoka. They'd just like to get something before the end of the period to get some type of spark going.
The Rebels on the wrong end for that as Anoka wins the faceoff. Tornadoes controlling at the blue line. Shot towards the net, deflected in front, but Newman couldn't get enough of that one to push it past Boynton.
Good poise, good focus that time by Boynton.
Bouncing puck from neutral ice makes it in on Olsen. He slowed it down, didn't cover up initially, and then he does as the pressure bears down on him.
Some more pushing and shoving. Actually, before that shorthanded attempt by scoring opportunity by Anoka, behind the play for Champlin Park, I was surprised they didn't whistle a slash. As it was Ingram that time, they got frustrated with one of the Anoka Tornado defensemen. And the referee had his arm up for a second and then brought it back down.
Both these teams lost to Centennial last year in the section playoffs. One will face Centennial on Saturday. And through 2 periods, certainly looks like it will be the Anoka Tornadoes who do so, as this puck trickles back into their own end, and they'll just hold it down there to get to the second intermission. After 2 periods of play here in Coon Rapids, it's a 4-0 Tornadoes lead. They add 1 goal in the second to extend their advantage.
They are definitely on that uptick. It wasn't 6 goals that they gave up in the second period, as they did in the game earlier this year, but the 1 goal is enough to kind of stretch it and put Anoka in a great position as they open up that third period.
You're watching coverage of the Section 5 2A quarterfinals. It's boys hockey action on North Metro TV.
Adopting a new pet is a rewarding experience. And shelter pets make super pets. Your new best friend will steal your heart, bring you happiness, and enrich your life for years to come. You can make a difference in the life of an animal. Adopt and bring home a shelter pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back to the Coon Rapids Ice Center. John Haddon and Joe Ruland with you as Anoka leads 4-0. The 3 seed dominating thus far, although they slowed down in the second period in terms of scoring. Just 1 goal in that second, but it looked like a carbon copy of the score they had at the end of the first period, with Talbot feeding Giddings on a rocket rush. And here's a look at the action in the second period. Talbot flying in, holds on, and beautiful feed, and it's finished under the pads by Gidding as he's able to beat Boynton.
Well, you know, you saw a lot of those things evolve in that first period. Not as many as in the second period, but Anoka just has a way of having those odd man rush come to life in a blink of an eye. And they had a 3-on-1 that was turned away by Boynton also in this second period. But Talbot is just a magician, setting it right on the table. You got to love playing on the line with that kid.
Maybe one of the reasons the Tornadoes didn't pour it on in the second period the way they did in the first. No chances on the power play. There were a couple of coincidental situations, but no power play chances for the Tornadoes. That's how they got their first 2 goals of the night, as you looked at the numbers there. And certainly most of them reading in favor of the Anoka Tornadoes. And right now the top seeds dominating in Section 5 2A. We got a score in from the other quarterfinal. Blaine leading 7-0 over Coon Rapids after 2 periods of play, which means that combined the 4 lower seeds have scored 1 goal through 2 games and 2 periods in each of the 2 locations.
Well, and I had a chance to see the Centennial coaching staff, John, walk behind us as just near the end of the second period, they were pretty much all set, and the players were on their way out to the bus and moving along. They got enough on that scouting report to see everything they needed to see and have things ready to go on Saturday. That's a powerful Centennial team they'll be playing.
Let's not forget, we were able to catch up with one of the skaters before they returned to the ice. Let's go down to Brian, who's standing by with Michael Talbot.
Hi, so I'm here with Michael. How was those 4 assists for you?
It's going pretty well out there. I'm just telling my line mates to go to the net with speed, and I'm going to try my best to find them, and hopefully we can keep using our speed and getting to the net and getting some goals here.
So what do you think your team needs to do to ensure your win in the third period?
Just get the pucks out of our zone, get them in deep, and forecheck the hell out of them.
All right, thank you very much.
And thank you, Brian, for catching up with Michael Talbot. He talked about the speed and getting to the net. He's assisted on every play, but it really seems like he's got a great connection with Giddings with the 2 scores that they've had together.
They did. Talbot, a senior, just hits those burners. Again, he's one of those players that had a lot of success in soccer also this year, but you're right, he and Giddings seem to have that connection. and they just know where each other's going to be on those breakaways or any of the one-time opportunities. So let's see what Champlin Park can get started, as they are 4 goals down, and the freshman has seen a few shots, not nearly as many quality shots as he did in that first period, but it was still a good performance by the freshman to just give up the 1 goal. Close on that shorthanded goal also in that second period, but he denied that.
And shots on goal not nearly as lopsided in this game as in our last game, but one of the things you often talk about when it comes to a goalie who's trailing in a game is quite often he's facing quite a few more shots than the opposition goalie. So he's probably made more good saves throughout the course of the night, but he's just faced too many, and a few have gotten past. And from Boynton has made some good saves. He's just faced too many shots for him to handle at this point.
Yeah, the shots that he's had, I mean, just difficult shots. One knocked in by his own defenseman. Another beautiful one, top shelf. Odd man rushes. He's done well as a freshman tonight and this whole season.
Battle for the puck. And Anoka gains control, takes a shot, stopped down by Smith out in front, and picked up. Trying to skate with speed is Bauman. Bauman hands it off, backhanded attempt, and that one went right back through the crease.
That puck was hopping a bit, and it was on his backhand, so he couldn't get the quality shot as Bauman that he wanted to.
Yeah, Ryan Ingram bringing it in, and he almost had it anyway, but not quite the angle he needed to get it between the pipes, as Olsen was completely beaten. Instead, it ended up more like a pass, and there was nobody back on that side.
Good speed by Ingram on that rush to set it all up for Champlin Park.
Here's a wrister that goes wide. Played up to the far side boards and taken up with a rush the other direction. This is Giddings. He's stonewalled.
Beautiful setup by Johnson as he was going to the bench, and a great save for Champlin Park.
Tip back to Talbot. Talbot centers a pass, looking for Giddings underneath. Didn't happen.
We just talked about that connection, and they almost got the 5th goal, combined for the 5th goal right there.
Here, puck shoveled into the Anoka zone. They'll stop it right in front of their goal and send it forward. Controlled by Giddings. It gets into the offensive zone, and we get a whistle. The official farthest away. Here's the big chance for Champlin Park, and Olsen gets knocked down. That's the other thing. If that puck's just left back there, maybe someone's got a chance before he can get back to the goal. Then you've got Giddings shut down the rebound there. And again, if someone's just there, but no one was coming down the slot following the play, as Giddings was too far ahead of everyone else.
Getting stonewalled by Boynton. Power play opportunity, 2 for 2. Here's the penalty. Here's the trip on Giddings. Ellingson whistled for the trip. So let's see if they can continue the success they've had here in the playoffs. 2 for 2 already, John, on the power play for Anoka.
Ellingson serving his second penalty of the game. Anoka's been good at setting it up. They do so here. Talbot controls along the blue line. Hands it off to Johnson. Johnson skates to the near wall. Everyone's in place. Talbot again has a man between the circles. Gets around a defender. Leaves it off underneath. Pass through the crease. And it ends up on the far side. Skating out with it is Grayler. Another pass towards the front. This one deflected around. Bouncing in on the pads a couple of times. Now it's sent out. A hopping puck makes it to the blue line. And a big swat follows that one from Johnson. Taylor O'Neill was the man on the doorstep who couldn't beat the goaltender. Here's a shot and a save. That one right into the breadbasket of Boynton.
I'll tell you, it's another sophomore out there in front, bouncing puck, and they're able to clear, but meanwhile Boynton just making save after save. Even though it hasn't been a high number of saves, I got to tell you, the quality of shots he's turned away has been very, very impressive. Looks like Olsen's heading over to get some work done on his helmet. That's the delay as he's over at the bench with an equipment repair.
Probably happened during that last sprawl out we saw just a bit ago when he was ridden by his own man into the boards in the end due to a collision.
Well, as we said, Anoka came into this game with a mark of 15-9, winners of 7 in a row.
Yeah, they'd lost 6 in a row before that 7-game winning streak. They were part of the Let's Play Hockey top 20 for a while. 3 straight weeks they were in the top 20. But that losing streak knocked them out. They haven't been able to climb back in yet. However, they are playing outstanding hockey in the month of February.
Absolutely. And 96 goals coming into this game. Add the 4. They've hit the century mark this season. And that's the way you want to be playing as you're going and getting ready and prepping for Centennial, barring they can hold on here for the last 14 minutes.
Looks like Spencer Olsen is all squared away as he settles in the crease once more. But the action's on the other end. Still a minute to go on the power play for the Anoka Tornadoes. This puck sent to the front. Looking for the Newman tip in. It didn't happen. Puck played out. And Talbot gets it behind his own net. Talbot coming up ice, has Johnson on his left, and he goes there with the feet ahead. Isaac Johnson breaks the blue line, hands it back to Talbot. Fed across and tipped around the defender by Grayler. Giving chase into the corner was O'Neill. Grayler back at the blue line. Talbot winds up, shot and a save made. That one off the stick, goes to the side in the corner. Johnson for Talbot, back to Johnson. Hand off underneath. Skating around with it, up to Talbot. Out of the far side. And that pass makes it through from Grayler, but nobody was home on the other side. Quick pass to Johnson, and his top shelf is a little too high. That try clearing the crossbar. Delayed penalty, and the goaltender goes off. It's dumped in by Anoka.
I'll tell you, it was O'Neill who did a great job of keeping the puck in the Anoka zone as Champlin Park was getting ready to skate free of the zone. He lifted the stick of the Rebels player and turned around and set up a teammate, and that Whistler went over top. So penalty here is going to be whistled again against Champlin Park. It looks like it's Ingram.
Ingram for the slash. Ingram with more penalty minutes than anyone else on his team during the regular season. Picks up a pair here. He had 32 during the regular season. Here's a shot towards the goal. And this is a long time for the penalty kill unit. As this shot goes wide, there's a man down on the ice.
That was
contact coming away from the play.
Wow, Shellum, I think, who initially took a puck on a shot or maybe a stick, but Shellum has been down for a while. He went down immediately.
Pushes himself up.
We had a minor penalty for slashing assessed to Champlin Park.
You can hear the penalty call being whistled, or the announced to Champlin Park. They could really ill afford a penalty. Down by 4 goals already. This is their second penalty.
See if we can see the contact. It just looked like he took a puck, and it might have caught him below the belt, is my guess, or in the stomach, something that would get him to double over like that. Off the draw, it was pushed towards the crease, knocked out towards the blue line, loose on the doorstep, and it's finally gathered in by Champlin Park. Can't get it out of the zone, though. Here, a quick shot, and that one goes wide for Hudek. Played behind the net. This is Moravsky. Up to the blue line. Hudek hands it off. Wind up in a shot. Pad save made on the Colin Hans try.
Anoka doing a great job now of moving that puck. If the passing was a little slower, now it's much more crisper.
Got the second unit out there. Perry hands back to Hudek. Out to the blue line, and a big wind up in this one. Stopped by a body as someone laid down in front of Hans to stop that shot. Hudek passing over to Wilbur. Left back behind the net. Carter Perry picks it up. Hands it off, passed through the slot, and it makes it out to neutral ice. Taking on the run, Bauman trying to get there, had no help in the offensive zone, and apparently he went in offside by himself.
Well, bring it back, stop, whistle with 12:09 to go. Again, 56 seconds left on the man advantage for Anoka. They are 2 of 3 on the power play here this evening.
Anoka still with 50 seconds left to try and get another power play goal. They do control in the zone. Has this puck taken by Johnson. Top units back out there. Talbot to Johnson. Gets past him to Grayler. Grayler, Johnson at the point. Talbot switches places with him with control. Talbot with a wrister. Blocker save, knocks it down, and it's picked up by Anoka. A retreat back out to the wall. Johnson feeds it underneath. Pass out to Talbot at the top. Passes across. The air shot goes wide, and it works its way out of the zone.
Well, I know Coach Manthe always trying to develop, always looking for a situation to kind of build some success, and you can see him doing that and kind of looking their way for that Centennial game. How can they continue to build their effectiveness?
The Rebels able to survive again, so back-to-back power plays. They were down without any break in between. It was 4 straight minutes. And they're able to hold Anoka off the board. So still no goals here in this third period, but the Tornadoes holding a 4-0 lead in this 5AA quarterfinal. Puck brought in with speed by Isaac Johnson. Tries to muscle his way to the front of the net, but he's knocked off by the defense, and now it's taken by Blake Auer. He passes the puck ahead and actually deflected right back to him. So Auer breaks the blue line, puts a wrister on. That one goes well wide. He's the first man there. Auer trying to center a pass, and it's taken away by Anoka, who clears quickly. A little surprise there to see the Tornadoes flip it out of the zone like that.
As was I. They had pretty good control, want to keep that clock moving, and 10:29 now left to go.
I also thought they had enough control that maybe you've got a rush going if you started up ice.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And finally back in, you can see, after getting hit in the knee with number 21, Shellum. Good to see him back on the ice.
The air shot towards the net deflects off a skate into the near side corner. Puck battered along the wall, and this one flung out of play. Catches the netting behind the goal.
Well, we'll see what Coach Johnston has in line. Down by 4 goals. Not a lot of remedies for overcoming that, but hockey's a funny game. One errant pass, one chip in front of the net, one redirect, and you've seen stranger things happen.
Puck taken behind the net, but we've got a penalty just off the face-off.
It will be Anoka whistled for the elbowing call. That'll go to Wilbur.
This is Jared Wilbur, penalized for the first time tonight. Plenty of penalties here in this matchup.
This is what Champlin Park needed. The man advantage. Here's that elbow.
Yeah, just took the skater clean off the ice, and Smith has been battered a little bit in this game. He's taken to the ice a few times. Hans would probably be the guy on the other side you could point to that's been beaten up. Puck squirts out of the zone and goes to the far end.
Let's see if Champlin Park can get some quality shots going here. Maybe a good rebound and put one in on that rebound. But right now they've got to get some shots on goal, and they're having trouble just bringing it in cleanly.
Turned over right at the blue line, moved out to neutral ice, where Smith picks it up. Smith in over the blue line, knocked off the puck, but it goes to a teammate, now taken away and backhanded out of the zone by Andy Sutterud.
They have yet to get even below the top of the circle thus far, and Anoka now controls.
Yeah, Isaac Johnson knocked down from behind, and he is slow. He's not moving really much back there. All right.
He took a
He's
shot
not out
behind.
cold, but he was definitely knocked down with force.
Bateman will get the gate for the 3rd time tonight. Isaac Johnson back up. Looks functional anyway. May need one of those smelling salt tablets that Coach Torch has been taking, it sounds like,
I could not
before
believe
each period.
that.
He looks like he probably has taken a sniff of those too. Those tablets, as the pneumonia tablets, as they break off. It's those are potent, but looks like Johnson is fine.
Cross-check was the call. So we skate 4-on-4 for about a minute. Open the ice up a little bit. We'll see who that helps the most. Schuster brings it into the zone, then it's taken away. Talbot passes off, and Grayler through neutral ice. Passed ahead. Nice feed forward for Newman. And we get a whistle along the way. It was, in fact, just a little bit late. So,
well, this is one you hate to see. Just a shot from the back. I mean, just that there's nothing they can do but call it. But the worst part is that it eliminates your man advantage, and you're down by 4 goals. Of any chance of hope to try to get a spark of momentum going will evaporate with that play.
puck played into neutral ice and sent back in. Talbot giving chase. Can't get there ahead of Schuster. That's Jackson Snee knocked down to the ice. Snee trying to play it forward. Talbot got in the way. Puck ends up at the blue line, and it's sent on goal. But blocker saved to stop that shot.
Anoka will go on that power play in 10 seconds.
Not a lot of time to work with for them, but a half a penalty. But they do gain control and bring it into the zone. Controlling is Hans. Tried to hand it back, and it's tipped away. Rebels come up with it. Big get for them as they send it forward. Up ahead to Smith. Smith still battling for the puck, which ends up behind the goal. Tornadoes have control. They work it up ice with 30 seconds left on the power play. They get in over the blue line cleanly. It looked a little messy, but they were able to do it without an offsides. Here's the shot from the circle, and the save made as that went right into the torso of Boynton.
That will get you to bend over. A hard wrister like that right into the abs. Nice save by the freshman. Champlin Park again had a chance to speak with the head coach, Jen Austin, before the game. He couldn't say enough about some of the seniors, including Derek Smith, about what great captains they are. Hard shot there.
Yeah, that shot trying to go 5-hole and able to get his legs together and hold tight was Boynton. We talked about Boynton being a freshman. We mentioned the sophomores, but there's no doubt in my mind that Smith's been the hardest worker on the ice tonight. He has been everywhere, and he's been battered while doing so, as Anoka's really gone after him. Shot towards the goal, ends up well wide. Played off the boards. Tornadoes maintain control. Still 5 seconds left on the power play. Here the puck picked up by Auer. Shot towards the net. The deflection doesn't come. They had Wilbur in front. And it moves out to neutral ice. So with 5-on-5 hockey, a shot from neutral ice is gloved and then left on the ice for his teammates by Boynton.
Shots on goal have really now begun to kind of reflect the game. 32-12 in favor of Anoka.
There, blocker save made. Second attempt on the rebound. Good chance, but Roberts misses wide. Champlin Park keeps it in the zone for the moment. Worked out towards the blue line. Swat at it to try and keep it in. Success there. Worked out of the zone by Wilbur. Jared Wilbur, run off the puck. He's checked hard into the boards. Oh my.
Caught the end of those boards and right into that glass. That's always a dangerous place for a check.
Anoka grabs it at neutral ice, and we've got a fight away from the puck.
They need to be careful. They don't need a game ejection for the next game as well.
That was a matchup of Sam Schuster and Dylan McLaughlin.
Teams and play getting just a bit chippy here when they're down by 4 goals. Some frustration setting in. And the last thing the Tornadoes need is not only somebody booted and ejected from this game, but also missing the next game. There you see it. Glove in the face. He retaliated.
They just don't let go. Taking each other to the ice. I think the judge's decision might have gone to the senior on that one. Or excuse me, the junior McLaughlin.
We'll see if they decide they're going to give any additional penalties other than coincidental minors, as they want to keep this game in check. 6 minutes, 22 seconds to go, and a 4-goal lead. At this point, it looks like coincidental minors.
Puck taken off the draw into the offensive zone, and coming in strong was Keegan Bauman. It was deflected away from him, but the puck still went towards the goal. Olsen able to make the save. 6:06 remaining in the third period, and the score remains 4-0 in favor of Anoka, where it's set since the end of the second period. This wrister deflected into the far corner. The first man there is checked hard on the boards, and that's a Grayler. Maintains possession and gets it off to Johnson. Isaac Johnson takes it out from in front of his own net. Skating with speed to the near side wall. Smith tracked him down, poked it away from behind. Puck played behind the net to Taylor O'Neill. Left it to the blue line, but the Tornadoes unable to keep it in the zone. So they retreat and dump it in.
All right, we have double coincidental minors.
That's in fact what they're calling.
for roughing and unsportsmanlike conduct. Assessed to Champlin Park number.
Puck loses or the player loses an edge as he brought it into the offensive zone was Ryan Ingram. Back on his feet trying to fight for the advantage behind the goal. So we won't see much of the two skaters who went into the penalty box unless you look at them through the glass the rest of the way here.
Champlin Park just trying to get something that reflects a scoring opportunity here.
It looked like they were doing a decent job of actually maintaining possession in the zone for a bit, but it's forced out. Face-off will come back in front of Spencer Olson due to the icing against Anoka.
4 minutes, 40 seconds remaining. And you can see the fans getting ready, but it's more so you want to get out of here healthy if you're Anoka. No injuries for this next game coming up against Centennial on Saturday.
Anoka, as they have so often tonight, comes up on a rush. This one brought up by Casey Orn, the sophomore, who has been a strong Orn tradition at Anoka. Adam and Alex were the team MVPs the last 2 years. Now Casey, the sophomore, getting a chance with the varsity squad. Anoka getting a little deeper into their bench. And Sutterer gets to the blue line and carries it in, but there was a man ahead of him, might have been Mirovsky.
Well, one thing I've seen from Anoka through the game, not only on the odd man rushes and that speed, but you can always tell the experience, and some of the top players have a lot more poise with that puck. They hold on to that puck just a second or two more, and you've seen them do that on odd man rushes, especially Talbot's had success on his assist.
Champlin Park retreating back into their own end to gain control. Anoka comes and takes it away, courtesy of Talbot. Spun off the puck is Jack Giddings. Talbot fighting for it once more. He has control, has help in the area from Matthew Alto. Puck played to the backboard. Centering pass goes off of Talbot's skate. Good opportunity. It went awry. Olson had to come into his goal. He knocks it to the far side, boards out to neutral ice. Champlin Park dumps it back in. Behind his own net, this is Hans. Hans stopping and starting, loses control of the puck. Picked up behind the net for a moment. Champlin Park couldn't maintain possession as Peyton Oy got to it first. Here's Hans once more, feeds it forward. Jack Giddings sends it ahead. And it's dumped in by Talbot after he crosses center ice.
Number one line back out there again for Champlin Park and cannot connect on that pass, but there is no icing. They'll keep it rolling.
Anoka just behind their own net, trying to hold on. Again, you would expect the top two seeds to do well, top three even maybe, but the lopsidedness of this entire quarterfinals may be a bit surprising. To have the 3-6 matchup be a 4-0 decision if it stands right now, and the 4-5 to have been so lopsided with Maple Grove beating Spring Lake Park 6-1.
I was surprised at that level. Even though Maple Grove is very tough, but Spring Lake Park had a very successful year winning their conference.
They were on top of the West when it was all said and done in the Northwest Suburban. Had some big wins over Tino Grace, a team they hadn't beaten in 4 years or so. There's a big difference in the postseason playing at the 2A level and the 1A level. Here's shot deflected by a stick. Took a hard bounce off the boards after it connected with Shellum's the stick, and then it's forced all the way to the other end. Not a lot of whistles as we head down the stretch. Under 2 minutes to play.
I think the officials are happy to see the play continuing to roll. Once a whistle blows, you tend to get some extra shoves and frustration that can set in with the game. It's been pretty well dominated by Anoka from start to finish.
Certainly the score is closer. You would think Champlin Park played a better game than they did a week ago. That's small comfort to the seniors probably for Champlin Park, who see their seasons and careers end tonight.
One of those dubious honors, but a good season this year for Champlin Park, and for Anoka it continues. There's progress for Champlin Park.
Rebels try a shot just across the blue line, doesn't work out, pops up and out of play into the Anoka bench. 1:06 remaining here in the third.
There you see the bench for Anoka getting revved. They're excited to put this game in the book, stay healthy, and take the momentum that they have collected over the last now 8 games, I believe. Their 8-game winning streak, and take it to Centennial on Saturday.
Dominant wins today, hopefully leads to excellent matchups on Saturday in the semifinal round. Anoka gets the puck out of the zone. Winding up on the slap shot, left behind, and that one knocked down, and Smith gets a shot away, but it is deflected up and out of play.
I saw that shot that was taken right to the shin that time by Elto of Anoka, and you're thinking, okay, we're up 4-0, 40 seconds to go, and they hurry up and take a slap shot right into you hope it's not the ankle, but he survived that. But just one of those cases, you just don't want to see injuries as the game's coming to a close. You need everyone at their highest level and healthy for Saturday against Centennial.
And Champlin Park won the draw a little too well. Goes all the way back into their own zone. 30 seconds to play. Rebels work it up ice. It's picked up on the move by McLaughlin.
Whistle for that offside. 26 seconds.
McLaughlin back on the ice as the 4 minutes was served by each of the 2 players involved in that kerfuffle earlier in this period. The draw won by nobody, and now is played behind the goal. Anoka trying to secure the shutout for their goaltender. The win not in doubt. Tornadoes holding in their own zone will whip it out to neutral ice. Knocked down by Smith, nearly picked up by Revering. Brought into the zone and moved to the side. That'll do it. Victory to the Anoka Tornadoes. They advance to face Centennial on Saturday, shutting out Champlin Park tonight 4-0. So with a first-round playoff win, the Tornadoes improved to 16-9. The Champlin Park Rebels finished the season 9-14-3.
There you get a chance to see the senior netminder Olsen. Again, it was the senior goaltender that was victorious versus the freshman for Champlin Park, but it was in fact an impressive outing for Boynton, who made many stellar stops.
Indeed, Olsen gets the shutout. Anoka gets the win. They move to the semifinals. We'll talk more about it when we return here on North Metro TV. Final score 4-0. Anoka over Champlin Park. No scoring in the third period. And the Tornadoes hold on for the victory. They'll meet Centennial Saturday at 3 at the Champlin Ice Forum. Marissa is standing by with Jack Giddings, who had a pair of goals in this win.
I'm here with Jack. How'd that win feel tonight?
It felt great. Finally taking the finally beating the team we needed to.
What do you think made your team successful tonight?
Oh, we just moved the puck a lot and just a lot of backdoor plays. That's all we needed to beat them.
And what's the mindset going into your game against Centennial on Saturday?
They've ended our season last year, and we need to just take them. Like, I don't even know. I just want to beat them so bad.
All right, well, good luck and great game tonight.
All right, thank you.
Well, certainly Jack Giddings seems to have the inspiration needed for Saturday. And as we look ahead to the next round at the Champlin Ice Forum, you've got Blaine and Maple Grove in the late game in the bracket that we didn't watch. Anoka against Centennial in the action from the games we saw tonight. And those top 4 seeds outscoring their opponents tonight 26-1. I think the coaches got it right when they did the seeding coming into this tourney.
Absolutely. Everything pretty predictable in terms of what you were expecting. Probably, like you said before, the one big shocker was the gap in which Maple Grove defeated Spring Lake Park.
So we know who the matchups are, and we know we'll be there on Saturday. So be sure to come out to the rink or join us on North Metro TV. Glad you were with us for this one. For Marissa Gresham and Joe Ruland and our entire crew. That'll do it for me. My name's John Haddon. Final score, Anoka Tornadoes 4-0 victors over the Champlin Park Rebels.